Oregon, exactly with the magnitude we were expecting, and as soon as it struck, my live stream got turned off by YouTube so that the people on YouTube would be kicked off the stream and you wouldn't see that my earthquake forecast is fulfilled. And I would have to say this is a conspiracy level at this point because I also did an hour-long update covering Mount Tronic and the carbon dioxide emissions, sulfur dioxide emissions that are happening up here in Canada from a large supervolcano that we just discovered south in, south of the Northwest Territories in northeast Alberta, northwest Saskatchewan. That's all gone now because they turned off my feed. So, a second earthquake just reported. That might be the Europeans or the USGS checking in. Let's see. Let's open up the stats on this. Okay, that is USGS checking in. First, the Europeans had it first, beat them to the punch. You can see 4.3 striking off the coast of Oregon exactly in the area we were watching for activity to strike. This should be no shock to anybody who has been paying attention. This confirms the forecast issued yesterday. There was a full 24-hour warning. Actually, you could say 48-hour warning for this to occur, and it struck right off the coast, and then they shut my channel off as soon as it struck. So there's a definite conspiracy involved with them trying to hide. And when I say them, I'm talking about the U.S. government in collusion with corporate industry and private companies that are doing this in the Northwest. State institutions from the University of Washington State, the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, and the USGS. And they actively conspired against me. They smeared me in the news, took to CBS News, issued all kinds of press releases, tearing me apart. But now you can see again, a 4.3 has struck right in the middle of the warned zone off the coast of Oregon. And we were watching for 4 to 5.0 earthquake activity to strike in the next day to 2 days. That was issued yesterday and the day before, telling people to watch the silent zone. We can go ahead and show you the silent zone. All the other earthquakes striking to the south. And then, of course, right in the middle of the warned area, it has now been hit. There is no doubt about it. This is the earthquake we were watching for to strike in the Northwest. And at the same time it strikes, my channel goes down to stop people from seeing the news. I hope you guys get this out now, that someone will record this short little update that I'm doing to let everybody know that this is actually occurring as we're speaking. So if you live in the Northwest, or if you live off the West Coast, or if you live in the Midwest, we now seriously need to be on watch for additional movement to strike to the east. So this is already the activity that just struck over the past day. And we need to watch to the east. That includes Yellowstone. That includes southwest or South Colorado. Also western Texas. Need to be on watch for similar movement. Could be in the upper 3 to lower 4.0 range in the next several hours going into the next 2 days. Down the coast, there's only one other spot to watch. This is the area around Los Angeles. This is day number 2 of the 7-day forecast that I issued on the live stream 2 days ago. And you can see that exactly what we were watching for to strike there has exactly struck on time. And, we could go back into Mount Tronic and everything up here at the North Pole, but I don't want to do that. Or the Arctic Circle, I should say. We'll get back into that tonight at 10 p.m. I will have an update out tonight by 10 p.m., which should cover all the activity that struck since last night. I want to thank everybody who's been part of this. You got to see it happen live on screen here now, off the coast of Oregon, that 4.3. You knew to watch for it. You were watching for it just like I was because, again, people are keeping track of the areas that I'm saying to watch. So, this is make it or break it time on earthquake forecasting, and it's made. Anybody who said it was impossible, now you really got to start to wonder how professional are these professionals who said it was impossible. They said it was impossible to forecast earthquakes, and that to me kind of bothers me just a little bit. So, that being said, let me open up one more screen here for everyone else to see. We're going to do one more quick update, but first things first. You guys, again, if you aren't aware of what's going on, a new 4.3 just struck off the northwest coast of California, Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest, right in the middle of the silent zone off the coast of Oregon and the Juan de Fuca. This takes us into the Blanco fracture zone. Let me zoom in here. We've got the Blanco fracture zone, the cleft segment, and then we go down to the Gorda Escarpment off the coast of Northwest California. So you can clearly see it's right in the middle of that silent zone we were watching. Yeah, so hang in there 1 second. Whoops, I didn't mean to play that. I was trying to just play some music. In case you don't know, yeah, why don't I play it? Let's go ahead and turn that on for everybody else to see here. Hold on. This is great. This is great. In case you missed it, last night, Animatronic made me a new intro for the live stream itself, which is just incredible. And let me get it on the screen here for everybody to see. Okay. All right, there you go. So this is what we're going to lead in with any new update that I do. You will hear that first. And in case you just now tuned in, a 4.3 earthquake just struck off the coast of Oregon. We were watching for 4 to 5.0 earthquake activity to strike off the coast of Oregon. And in last night's update, this was the middle of the silent zone. And it had moved on both sides. And to show that to you, I can quickly turn on the USGS last 24-hour feeds, which is going to show us the earthquakes since last night's update. And, it looks like a jumbled mess on the screen, so let's turn the rings down. And you'll be able to see the cluster to the north, the cluster to the south, and then the coast of Oregon and all of Oregon was silent yesterday. And first 3.1 struck just a few hours ago, followed now by the 4.3, falling right in between that 4 to 5.0 earthquake activity we were looking for to strike today. So if you're from the West Coast, if you're on the West Coast, or if you know people on the West Coast, let them know there's going to be pressure transfer to the east now, based upon the 4.3. And if we see anything larger, then we'll see larger earthquakes press to the east-southeast from this spot off the coast in the Pacific Northwest. So it's been a while since we've seen any 4.0 activity up here, and then to see it strike today, really interesting. On top of everything else that's going on, of course, this coincides with the forecast issued 2 days ago here on the live stream in front of hundreds of people live issuing the forecast, not even recording it, doing it live for you guys without any cuts, breaks, or skips or pops. And you can now see the areas that we warned are being hit. I'm glad you guys are all getting to be part of this real time because it is interesting to see. And the other areas that we were watching are also being hit. So down here to the south, along the coast of Chile, moving down to the south. Also over in the West Pacific, we have new activity developing out there. We have new deep earthquakes which developed out over the last 24 hours, and we'll get into all that tonight at 10 p.m. Central Time. So just again, quick recap, 4.3 off the coast of Oregon as expected, and this confirms the earthquake forecast already. We're now watching Southern California for additional movement to strike, as well as to the east along the edge of the craton. It goes from Yellowstone south through Colorado, down into West Texas, and back up into Oklahoma and Kansas. As if all that wasn't enough, 3.0 striking on the New Madrid seismic zone, and that's the leftovers from the earthquake swarm this past week. And in case you weren't paying attention the last 7 days, I know there's a holiday and everything going on. Oklahoma struck by additional swarm of threes, and whatever energy was not expended here transferred to the east and released on the New Madrid with a single 3.0. This will put pressure on the East Coast, no doubt about it, as well as the new 4.3 off the coast here. The whole edge of the craton is going to be pressed to the east, and a new round of earthquakes we can expect off this 4.0 off the coast. 4s off the coast usually cause 2s on the East Coast within a few days' time. So 4.0 in California, Oregon, causes 2 in Quebec and New York within a few days. We've seen it happen way too many times to be a coincidence. So guys, what can I say? Get the word out. If you could, please share this live stream. But every time it gets shared, guess what they do? They kill it. So again, I did an hour-and-a-half long update about Mount Tronic and the supervolcano up at the Arctic Circle in North Alberta. And as soon as I got done, the stream gets killed, the recording gets deleted by YouTube, and it's nowhere to be found ever again. Disappeared off into the ether. Not the Ethernet. Disappeared into the ether. In other words, gone. And that's unacceptable to me. Other people get their live streams saved so that they don't have to go through this problem of trying to... what am I supposed to do? Have another computer to save my live stream on top of the live stream being saved by YouTube? Other people who stream live streams, their videos get saved by YouTube, on YouTube, for their viewers to watch later on their channel. Every week, Dabu does his weekly Real Talk Live, and that gets saved to his channel. Every live stream gets saved to your channel, except for Dutch's. And even when it should, then they kill it and it deletes. And I have no say in the matter. I can't do anything about it. My hard work gets vaporized as soon as I do it. So this is live now, 7:22 p.m. Central Time, July 5th, 2016. We're looking at the last now 7 days of earthquakes. Let me turn these down so you can just see the most recent earthquakes that struck over the past 24 hours. Coast of Oregon, and look at the edge of the craton, by the way. So we have volcano struck here at the Arizona. This is north of the Uinkaret volcanic fields, right next to another volcano. Then fracking operations struck across the Midwest. Then New Madrid moving with a natural fault zone earthquake, meaning that there's movement that's going to be happening up here in the Northeast that's equal to or similar in size to what we're seeing here, maybe a little bit less. As the energy spreads out across the plate, we might lose a little bit of that momentum and lose a little bit of pressure, and then, of course, get smaller earthquakes. So there you go. Oh, yeah, South America. In addition to the earthquakes progressing down the coast, right where we were warning, the bend, right between Peru and North Chile, now the largest earthquake of the bunch to strike, a 5.0 struck today. So it's all coming to fruition right now, right before your eyes, especially with the 4 off the coast. This is egg on the face for all the professionals who came over to me, came over to my pages, the lead director of the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, the lead geologist at the University of Washington State, came to my social media pages and disparaged me horribly. Took to the news, did it on CBS News, press releases about Dutch Synth's Michael Janich, saying it was impossible to forecast earthquakes, and I was just getting lucky, like throwing darts at a board. Well, now here we go. The spot that we warned off the coast, the silent zone in between the 2 spots that moved, with the expected magnitude named. Now, I wasn't just getting lucky. We based that scientifically upon the fact that each area on either side had moved, and we added up the total of all the earthquakes on either side, and it totaled up to about a 4 to 5. If you add in all the other smaller earthquakes, that those thousands of smaller earthquakes would equal one mid 4 to 5.0, and that's exactly what happened, and it struck exactly in the middle of the area that was warned. Again, this fulcrum point, this point in the middle between the 2 zones that are moving, seems to be the spot that gets struck every single time when there's a silent zone in between those 2 areas that have moved. It's happened too much to be a coincidence. Happened in Mexico just a day ago, happened down in South America, happened over in Japan, happened over in Indonesia, all in the past week. We don't even have to go back very far in my forecast. We can just go back to last week, and you guys can compare. If you've been paying attention every day here on the live stream, then you know already. You knew to watch off the coast of Oregon. Not just because I told you, but you knew the reason why behind I'm telling you. That it's the silent zone between the 2 spots that have moved. So if you're shocked by this, it's just because you weren't paying attention yesterday or the day before. But most of my viewers were here. You guys aren't shocked. You know to get the word out. So please, share this now. And tell people they can rewind to hear the most recent update. I'll try and get some of this recorded tonight, but it's becoming hard. I don't know what to do. It looks like I'm going to have to buy another computer. I don't want to. I can't. It's not going to be for gaming or anything like that. It's going to be strictly sucked up by a live stream sitting here trying to record where it's something YouTube should already be doing for me. Everybody else gets their live stream saved. Why do I have to record mine and then upload it? That's insane. But there it is. So, I love you guys. Thank you for getting the word out on this. Look at my subscribers. It's gone through the roof since last night. We've gone up 100 subscribers just in the past few hours today. So, word is definitely getting out. There is no doubt about that. We are getting the word out. People are getting, all across the world are tuning in, whether they're in Europe or in Asia. We even had some people from Africa in here last night. That's really cool. Let's just go ahead and do a refresh and see where we are. 200 people in the chat right now, and the subscriber count kind of bouncing around there a little bit. If you could get the word out, please share my stream. There's a Twitter button, there's a Facebook button, there's all sorts of different options you have to share it, but the only way I'll get out to the world and the only way people are going to know about earthquake forecasting, there's millions of people on the West Coast. How many people are in Oregon? I don't even know, but I would assume that there's a fair amount of people in Oregon. Do you think the people in Oregon will want to know when an earthquake's going to strike nearby them? Well, let them know there's a guy who's doing it, and he's defying the professionals in their own area. And that their professionals in their area are taking the time to come to my pages to give me a hard time. Actually going to the media, too. So it's not like they're just coming to my social media pages and backing off. They're actually going to CBS News and talking about me to CBS News. Well, that's a real problem. When I'm forecasting earthquakes off the coast, giving them a 2-day warning, and the people that are there in the Northwest want to raise millions of dollars to give them a 2-second warning. They're working on a 2-second warning system for all the big companies on the West Coast. Oh, yeah. They want to raise millions of dollars to warn Big Brother and the Big Brother companies. But when it comes to you guys, they don't want you to have a warning. They say there is no way to warn you. Meanwhile, I just gave you a 2-day warning for a 4.0 to strike, 4 to 5 to strike off the coast of Oregon. Told you why, told you when, told you how big. And there's science behind it. It's not just waving your mouse around on the screen and guessing. You base it upon the other earthquakes nearby and the silent zone that should have already moved over the past week or two, and it's been silent. That means it's going to be hit, and it's going to be hit with equal to movement on the either side of the adjacent areas that are already showing activity. It's just basic Newtonian physics that the professionals somehow ignored, denied. I don't know why you would deny it, but for some reason, I guess because it's in a textbook, they don't want to defy Rand, the textbook printer. They don't want to, get into it with the publishers because that means they have to rewrite all the textbooks. Billions of dollars in textbooks. You have to rip out the whole geology section and replace it with all this new stuff we're discovering, including the new supervolcanoes and everything else. Now, as I'm talking here, another 4 has struck in Japan. So, a lot going on. Really, there is. There's a fair amount of activity going on right now, guys. And we need to be aware and be prepared, on the West Coast especially. Since we just saw the activity we would expect to the north, we got to watch now down near Los Angeles, of all places, where they dive under desks at the drop of a 4.0 earthquake. So let's hope it stays small, because I don't want to have to see another viral video of a news guy jumping under the desk and everybody making fun of earthquake preparedness. We don't want people to get desensitized to this, so again, we're only watching for 4 to 5.0 activity to strike. Just keep that in mind when you're talking about size right now. And if it does start to grow in size, magnitude, I will warn you, I will tell you if we are looking at an increase in magnitudes. But again, as you know now, the magnitudes are based upon the other magnitudes nearby. So you kind of know not to expect larger earthquakes. Border of California struck. Border of California struck with Nevada 2.0, just as we're talking. What I say, pressure transferring to the south-southeast near Los Angeles, and it's just east of Los Angeles. That's technically the South Long Valley caldera near Volcano Peak. Hold on. 212 kilometers north of Los Angeles, northeast of Los Angeles. Okay. Well, there it is. Word up, guys. Word up. And no, I'm not Cameo. Although 80s is coming back. Cheers, guys. Much love. I'll be back at 10 p.m. Central.